Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson, a World Alternative Media here, and this is breaking news. Jeffrey Epstein has been arrested, and he's a man that we have been talking here at WHAM about for many, many years now. And, well, I mean, this isn't exactly surprising. It isn't the first time, but the question is, will he run free again? As many of you might know, Jeffrey Epstein, is said to be involved in a massive pedophile ring, and a lot of the top elites have been, in one way or another, possibly involved in this ring. Jeffrey Epstein being a big, high-level elite figure billionaire. And obviously, it creeps a person out seeing the pictures of him with young girls, and obviously with some familiar faces as well, including Donald Trump and Bill Clinton and Dershowitz. And you can see a group of photos here, if it loads, that shows many of the high-profile people that he has been involved with, including princes. Now, I want to go into some of the articles involved here because there are quite a few. But anyway, we'll get to this first one that's out of Bloomberg that says fund manager Jeffrey Epstein is charged with sex trafficking. And this could be the domino that will fall that will bring a lot of high-profile people down, folks. And we'll get into that more in a moment. But as this article goes into, fund manager Jeffrey Epstein was arrested by federal authorities on Saturday and charged with the sex trafficking of minors, according to a person familiar with the matter. Epstein is expected to appear in Manhattan federal court on Monday, according to the person, who declined to comment publicly because the charges remain private. Suspicions about Epstein have swirled for more than a decade, with alleged victims saying he used his employees to bring local teen girls to his Florida mansion for sex and paid them to recruit new victims. The girls were as young as 13 years old. Epstein eventually pleaded guilty in 2008 to 2 counts of soliciting a prostitute and served 13 months in a Florida state prison while avoiding prosecution for federal sex trafficking offenses in a non-prosecution deal. The Miami Herald last year published a series of stories detailing how the top federal prosecutor in southern Florida at the time, Alexander Acosta, worked with Epstein's lawyers to fashion the lenient deal. Acosta, now U.S. Secretary of Labor, interesting, isn't that? Allegedly failed to clear the agreement with many of Epstein's victims who said they would have opposed the 13-month sentence Epstein ultimately served, the paper said. The Herald said it found about 60 victims. 60! It's absolutely incredible, and as it goes on to say, it says, in the new case, additional victims have come forward since Epstein entered into his plea deal with Florida prosecutors, the person said. As a result, the case is unlikely to falter on double jeopardy grounds, which bars the government from prosecuting a person a second time on the same charges, the person said. Epstein is alleged to have committed the crimes while in Manhattan. Epstein will be held in federal custody in Manhattan until his court on Monday, when the case against him will be unsealed, the person said. A spokeswoman for U.S. Attorney Jeffrey Berman in Manhattan declined to comment. Epstein's lawyer, Martin Weinberg, didn't immediately return a phone call seeking comment. Epstein was arrested at Teterboro Airport in northern New Jersey after he returned from France, the person said. His lawyer couldn't be reached for comment. Epstein, who has homes in Manhattan, Palm Beach, New Mexico, Paris, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, molested girls, mostly 13 to 16 years old, at his Palm Beach mansion, the Herald reported. In February, a Florida judge said Acosta broke the law when he failed to disclose the non-prosecution agreement to Epstein's alleged victims, and the Justice Department opened a probe into how the case was handled. Acosta has defended his performance, saying the deal guaranteed that Epstein would be sent to jail. Last week, federal appeals court in New York said some sealed documents related to Epstein's case will be opened. The ruling came in a defamation lawsuit by Virginia Jeffrey, one of Epstein's alleged victims, against a British socialite. Jeffrey alleges Epstein and the socialite recruited her into a forced sex ring at Epstein's home in Florida when Jeffrey was a minor. The new charges were initially reported by the Daily Beast, and I have to also mention, this is a big one out of Fox News. It says Christine Pelosi, yes, Pelosi, warns it's likely that some of our favorites are implicated in a horrific Epstein case. And you could see her original Twitter message here. The Epstein case is horrific and young women deserve justice. It is quite likely that some of our faves are implicated, but we must follow the facts and let the chips fall where they may, whether on Republicans or Democrats. Hashtag we said enough. Hashtag me too. So let's think about that for a second, because there's a lot of implications here. A lot of really high profile people can be taken down after this really goes to court. Think of the people that have been involved with Epstein over the years, including princes, like I mentioned, Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and look, a lot of people could say, oh, well, he hung out with certain people. That's fine. You never know the true details of a person's life that you're hanging out with all the time. You hope that you're hanging out with good people. But, at times, you can't really read their mind or see what they've done behind closed doors. So I'm not going to say that everyone who's ever spent time with Epstein is guilty in some way, because that's certainly not the case. I'm sure it's not the case. However, when you have things like the Lolita Express, this airplane where allegedly there's a bunch of young underage girls being brought on the plane and molested and used as sex slaves, as huge, high-up, elite people, including two presidents now that I know of, were on that plane and are on that log, makes you wonder. Okay, sure, some people might have hung out with him and nothing happens. But being on that plane more than once, you've got to think, like, you saw that and you just kept going on that plane, like Donald Trump, or most notably Bill Clinton, which we talked about going back to the election, was huge because, as you can see, and in this article as well, shows down here, it was unclear exactly to whom Pelosi was referring, but Epstein has long been connected with high-profile figures, including Britain's Prince Andrew and former President Bill Clinton. Court documents obtained by Fox News in 2016 showed that Clinton took at least 26 trips flying aboard Epstein's private jet, known as the Lolita Express, and apparently ditched his Secret Service detail on some of the excursions. Records show that President Trump may have flown on the jet at least once, but possibly twice, as I've seen from other articles. This is a Fox News article. Let's be completely honest and open about this, because this is a huge thing that people need to go down for this. But look, Bill Clinton ditching Secret Service on a whole bunch of occasions, going on this flight that is known to have a bunch of underage girls on it. It's called the Lolita Express. Do you know what that means? Do you know what that alludes to? Have you ever seen or read the book Lolita, or seen the films by Stanley Kubrick? It blows my mind. Like, Bill Clinton, what were you doing on that airplane? What possessed you to get on that airplane on 26 occasions that we know of and continuously ditch Secret Service a whole bunch of times? Your name's on the log. I believe Kevin Spacey's name was on that log as well. A lot of well-known celebrities as well, but we know what happened there. But why were you on that airplane, Mr. Bill Clinton? Why are there so many women that have come out against you for rape, like our past interview guest, multi-time interview guest, Juanita Broderick? There's Kathleen Willey. Well, you know the story. There are all these people that came out against him for rape, and he's on this airplane. And it makes you wonder, perhaps there's something there, and it's not that crazy when you connect all these people, friends of Clinton, Kevin Spacey included, being on this airplane as well, and Bill Clinton's on this airplane, and no one's wondering, I wonder if there's a connection there, maybe, possibly, I don't know. But I will say, though, something I've long believed to be one of the factors that play into politicians doing terrible things, other than the fact that they're an organized crime to begin with, and you kind of have to be a little psychotic. But, one thing that brings something I think about a lot is, like, the idea that I think a lot of these politicians are blackmailed. They're caught maybe on video with an underage person or something like that. They get filmed. There's been a lot of talk about Jeffrey Epstein's Lolita Express having a camera in one of the bedrooms. I remember hearing about that during the last election. And this notion that, people can be molded and told what to do if they have this, footage of them with someone that's underage. I don't know, get them drunk and someone that's 17 even. Well, that's enough to ruin your career. I mean, think about it. So I have a good hunch that has to play in some way with this story. And then there's the island as well. And obviously, I gotta mention this quote here out of the same Fox News article, which says from Trump, "Nice guy. Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island with Jeffrey Epstein." Trump told Fox News' Sean Hannity in 2015, referring to Clinton's connections with Epstein. A lot of problems. Well, and one of those problems, Mr. Trump, involves you. So, I don't know exactly the details of everything, so I'm not going to, imprison someone in my mind here. But when there's smoke, there's usually fire. And now he's being accused of bringing girls to his Manhattan mansion, underage girls and stuff like that, as young as 14 to his Upper East Side home. You got stories like this. Jeffrey Epstein, a one-time associate of Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, is in legal trouble. Here's what we know out of the USA Today, and all the medias are talking about it now. But for years, may I add, we were all called conspiracy theorists. Our videos were even completely shadow banned and demonetized and hidden on YouTube for talking about these things because it was endangering people. It was what some people call lateral violence. We're somehow leading to people committing violence by talking about underage people, many of them extremely young, getting raped. Anyone remember the Franklin cover-up? We've been reporting on that for a long time. Look, I think there's something to be said about people when they get to a certain point of power where they have so much power, money doesn't do it anymore. And they need control over people. And what is more controlling than controlling the most vulnerable people in society? Like a slave. I feel like a lot of these elites are involved in this for this reason. It's a power complex. This need to control. It's an addiction. Not justifying it. They should be buried. I'll leave it at that. But, I mean, I feel like there's a lot to be said about the psychology involved and the psychotic nature of people who want to be in the spotlight to a certain extent. I mean, yeah, there's art in film, but then there's like the celebrity in film where it's like, it's just me in a movie, look at me, everyone, and just this weird sociopathic / psychotic nature. And then especially in politics, getting involved in ruling other people and being involved in an organized crime syndicate that we call government. Anyway, I'm not going to ramble on too much. I just wanted to bring the story up to all of you guys because obviously this is huge news. By the time this gets up, I think that we'll probably there'll probably be even more to the story because it's just happening as I speak. And I don't know, I'll try to get this video up as soon as I possibly can. I record this at 7:40 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On the 7th of July. So, I mean, it's Sunday, and then Monday all this stuff is going to happen. So I'll do my best to keep updating you guys with as much information as I can, and hopefully we can dissect this story further. But, I mean, I should also mention, I want to just throw this in there. I forget his name. Patterson wrote a book. The famous author wrote a book on Jeffrey Epstein and talking about throwing the book at him. And then ended up writing a book with Bill Clinton after, which is strange. And then when Bill Clinton was asked about his accusers, you're allowed to talk to everyone else about it. Someone asked Bill Clinton about it, and Patterson was like, how dare you? And was getting all mad and like yelling at them for daring to ask Bill Clinton about this, cover-up. I'm going to search this up as I talk here. Because, here we go. I'm going to bring this up on the screen for you all. Bill Clinton, James Patterson, they wrote a book called The President is Missing. And then Bill Clinton and Patterson snapped on this Today Show reporter who asked him, amazingly, they actually asked him, about the accusations. And I don't know. It's just, there's so much hypocrisy, both left and right. And people looking to support their political ideology when it comes to rape and molestation. It just shows how cultish it is, really. It's all so cultish. Someone's raping someone, possibly. All these people come out, like 80 people that I know of came out against Bill Clinton, going back to the 70s. And, but what about Trump? Well, what about him? If there's accusations against him, look at both sides. Many could be making it up. Many could be telling the truth. We don't know. But the fact that people just disregard things because it's on the other side of the political spectrum is so crazy to me. So cultish. What if it was your daughter? What if it was your mother? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to sign off from here because I don't want to go too far with it because I'll get angry. So, everyone stay tuned as I continue to update you on this story. Hopefully, light can be made out of all this darkness. So, thanks for joining us, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here at WHAM? Don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon. We can't do it without you. Any donation is very much appreciated, especially as we're so heavily demonetized and censored and shadow banned. It's getting really bad, folks. If everyone just gave $1 single a month to, say, Patreon or our Subscribestar, where we do subscriber-only content, we could really get out of this rut that we are currently in as YouTube tries to stifle independent media and prop up the mainstream media. This is really important. This is one of the most important times in independent media history for us to say it's now or never. Let's keep moving forward and let's be that change that we wish to see in the world. Of course, there's also our Bitcoin address below as well as on the screen for you to scan if you please. And of course, we got events coming up. So make sure to check us out at anarchovegas.com. Anarchovegas.com. Use promo code WAM, that's WHAM, for a 10% discount on your tickets. It's on July 19th, 20th, and 21st in, of course, Las Vegas, Nevada. That's anarchovegas.com. Make sure to check us out there and find us on websites like BitTube and Minds, and just try to support independent media, if not myself, any of the other big independent medias out there, to help us continuously bring our message to you free of charge so that we can really change the guard as we move forward into a dramatically polarized, crazy future. Let's try to make it as sustainable as possible. It comes down to you guys. You are the change you wish to see. You guys will help us get through these tough times. So anyway, check out all those links, and until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.